Hi, this is Carrie from Vegan Vibes, coming to you from my little kitchen here in England. Basically this video today is going to be a bit of a rant because I was just on Harvard's School of Public Health's website researching some stuff about diabetes. Recently I've been really interested in trying to figure out trying to find studies that support the fact that if you go vegan, you can kind of like cure your type 1 diabetes, because so far most of the focus is on the type 2 aspect of diabetes, but what about the type 1? Like, no one really talks about it, so this is what made me really interested in researching it up. Also, I have a friend at school who, well, this girl at school who has type 1 diabetes, and when I saw that she had to get basically her pancreas is on the outside, it's this little machine, and she programs how many carbs she needs to, how much insulin needs to be injected into her body. There's like a little needle thing, and it, based on the grams of carbs she's had, and it does it for her. And that's a great piece of technology, but I really hope that there would be something that would be less cost-worthy for the NHS, less stress. Like, imagine you can't remember how many carbs you ate and you can't write it in and you don't, oh my gosh, like, I don't have enough insulin. Like, I just feel like there's a more practical way of going about it, and that's a preventative way, but obviously type 1 you can't really prevent, you're kind of normally born with it. But a lifestyle that you can adopt that will help you push past it. So that's kind of what sparked my little interest in type 1 diabetes. And then I saw this little section on preventing disease. So I clicked on it because I'm a massive fan of preventative forms of medicine against disease rather than actual drugs and you taking drugs. So I clicked on it, and then there was one saying diabetes, like specifically. So I was like, oh cool, I'm gonna find some really good studies on this. I clicked on it, and it was basically just some written advice. Someone had written up like a blog post, basically, some advice about diabetes, and it was mostly about type 2, but I read it anyway, and I'm gonna read out what it says. So some of the stuff is like really good. I'm just looking at it now. Put exercise first. It's like in stages of 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's very bloggy. Anyway, so regular exercise. And the first thing they said, which I was like, okay, was like, try to keep weight in check. And then it says, getting active and eating a healthy diet with smaller portions slowly are your best bets of losing weight. What? Smaller portions? At the beginning I was like, okay, yeah, okay. How about instead of smaller portions, you just cut out the things that are actually going to make you gain weight? So this is when I first realised, like, do I actually want to trust this website? Like, alarm bells are ringing in my head. I'm looking at this very objectively and analytically. And then it says, cut back on refined carbs and sugary drinks. White bread, white rice, white pasta, and potatoes cause fast and furious increases in blood sugar, as do sugary soft drinks, obviously, fruit punch, I don't really know what that is, and fruit juice. Over time, eating lots of these refined carbohydrates and sugar may increase your risk of diabetes type 2. To lower your risk, switch to whole grains and skip the sugar, especially the sugary drinks. Drink water, coffee, or tea instead. Can't believe they're promoting to drink coffee. No, even then, see like what I see, it's like... And then the bottom says, read more about how you can prevent type 2 diabetes. And I'm like, what about type 1? Everyone's just ignoring it. So anyway, that's what it said. And I'm just going to draw up the thing which most made me angry here. Not only the white rice, but mostly the potatoes. When they're saying, don't eat potatoes. And I was literally like, have you not done any research at all? And then potatoes were like, oh no, carbohydrates were highlighted. So I clicked on that, kind of told me a bit about carbohydrates, and then it was telling, and it kind of did explain why you shouldn't eat potatoes for a bit, because it spikes weight gain. Let's try and find it. Where is it? Oh, yeah, it says pass on potatoes and instead bring on the beans. So it says, rather than fill up on potatoes, which have been found to promote weight gain, okay, choose beans for an excellent source of slowly digested carbohydrates. Beans and other legumes such as chickpeas also provide yada yada yada. So it's saying that potatoes have been found to promote weight gain. I'm pretty sure that if that was true, or if that were to be true, Frilly the Banana Girl would be obese, and so would Durian Rider, and so would loads of other Raw Tool 4 people. Like, I'm pretty sure that I have not gained any weight since eating about 4 large potatoes every single day, like this big. So, well, when I was at school, not really anymore, but 4 potatoes that large every single day. And then it had potatoes highlighted. So I was like, okay, let's click on this. So far at the bottom there's like one reference as well. There's only one study that has been referenced for the entirety of this. I don't know if any of you guys do history, but I know for a fact that if I'm actually going to take something seriously, I want you to footnote at least 50 different studies, or footnote exactly where you got it from one study to actually find what you're saying is legitimate. I think Harvard here are just kind of running on their reputation and their name already, and I think that's going to have massive consequences for loads of people when they take on this person's advice. And then so I clicked on potatoes. I'm sorry, I know I'm just going to talk about basically what I did, but like I said, it's a rant, or a rant, whatever you say. Anyway, and then they have this entire blog page basically slamming potatoes and saying how bad they are for you. And then they have this section, right? And it says, potatoes seem to be a particular culprit for weight gain and diabetes. And so I was like, all right, let's see what evidence you have here. Let's just give them a chance, you know, trying to be objective. And it says, a study from Harvard School of Public Health that tracked the diet and lifestyle habits of 120,000 men and women for up to 20 years looked at how small food choices changed and contributed to weight gain over time. I was like, that sounds very promising. That is a large amount of people, it's men and women, and it's over a 20-year period, which is normally like the minimal amount of time for a medical study to, basically, to take place for it to actually be legitimate and taken seriously in the academic sphere. So I was like, cool, this sounds great. And then this is what it said next. People increase their consumptions of French fries, baked or mashed potatoes, gained more weight over time, an extra 3.4 and 1.3 pounds every 4 years respectively. Can we just take a moment to read that? French fries, baked or mashed potatoes. Okay, French fries. They're not carbohydrates. They are fat. Unless they were cooking Frilly's, baked potatoes on parchment paper with 0 fats, which I highly doubt it, because this is America, they're counting French fries as potatoes. They're not. They are, essentially, but if McDonald's French fries are if you bite into that, I remember when I used to eat them, when you bite into that, that's pure crispy oil, if you think about it. It's bizarre to even associate something as baked potatoes as to French fries. And then they did say baked potatoes, which is great. But then, if you think about it, they just said baked potatoes, but I highly doubt that people were just eating baked potatoes on their own. They didn't say what was on the potatoes. They could have had baked beans on the potatoes. Fair enough, that's relatively okay, that's great. That's low carb, that's not low carb, that's low fat. But then what if they were having cheese? I know people have baked beans and cheese on baked potatoes all the time. What if they were having some cauliflower and cheese on it? What if they were just pouring butter? And I know what I used to do. I used to cut open my baked potatoes, get the biggest slab of butter and then shove it on. Then I would mush it in and basically make mashed potato but with the skin on it, because I like the crispiness of the skin. And then what I would grab the salt and then just shake that all over it. And that's barely a potato anymore. That's just pus from the dairy product, and then salt, which is just gonna make me go all puffy. So I really don't find that how they classify potatoes as the way that I would classify potatoes. And then the same goes for mashed potatoes. I mean, we all know that the best mashed potatoes when you were growing up is when they were creamed up with milk and butter and salt and maybe a bit of garlic thrown in there, you know, you mashed it all up, and to get that mashed consistency, it takes a lot of overt fats, even if it's margarine and it's vegan, to make it that creamy. And that's why you see most rotifores don't actually eat mashed potato, because it's really not that nice without any salt or butter on it, which I know is disgusting, people see, but it doesn't. Why do you not do it then? Because that's why normally people do. And also you can't mash it, it becomes lumpy. That's a bit gross as well. So that's why normally if you see mashed potato, it's smashed sweet potato, which is a completely different thing. So I don't think that it was the potato making people gain weight. I think it was definitely what they were putting on the potato or what they were cooking the potato with, such as the French fries with the oil. And I really don't think they're justified to say that potatoes make people gain weight. And if you still believe the Harvard's website, a book I recommend you read is The Starch Solution by Dr. John Mcdougall. He bangs on about potatoes so much. He has a great YouTube channel as well, where when he gives a lecture to an event, he normally has it filmed and he puts it up there, and he talks about his research and everything that he's done. And he's very specific, and he gives great talks. He's not too boring, and I love his accent. It's very Southern American. Anyway, it basically debunks myths such as calcium coming from milk, protein coming from meat, and eggs protein, etc., and fish. He has a chapter for each, and then on from that he has like chapters for when you're vegan, and what to say. Like, he has a chapter basically on when your friends ask you, where do you get your protein? And when your friends ask you, where do you get your calcium? It's really great, and it's very informative, and it gives you recipes at the back. It's very helpful, and I definitely recommend you buying it and just giving it a read. Even it's not necessarily 80-10-10, but the science behind it is there to promote 80-10-10 lifestyles, as well as a vegan lifestyle in general. And ultimately that's the most important thing, that everyone understands the vegan lifestyle and tries to at least adopt it as much as they can. So also The China Study as well is a great book to support why white rice isn't a problem, which they've mentioned on this website as well. That's by T. Colin Campbell. Yeah, T. Colin Campbell. And it's just called The China Study. And it basically looks at why in Asian societies diabetes is a very rare disease, whereas in Western societies it is the fastest killing one. So that's a really great thing as well to look at, to show you that carbs aren't the enemies, especially not potatoes. So that's basically my rant over, and I hope it wasn't too boring for you. My main issue for this, or the main message I want to get out, is that when you're looking at evidence and studies, and or when you're trying to explain to people maybe studies they've looked at, or things that they know, perhaps maybe they're biased, or that they can be wrong. It can just be straight, even if it's from Harvard, it can be wrong. So it's just making sure that everyone, even if you are vegan, look at every single study with objectivity and analytically, and then decipher from yourself, in your own opinion, the conclusion from the evidence and data that has been given. Don't listen to the conclusion of anyone else, follow your own gut feeling of when you're reading it, and I guarantee you 100% of the time it will be telling you to go vegan. So go vegan, stay vegan, and I hope that you've enjoyed this video.